95% of the people in the gang block were Spanish. The population in Massachusetts was less than 5% Spanish. And here, 95% of the gang block is Spanish. And what they did is an individual Spanish guy would come in and they would say, "You have a gang member?" And he would deny it. No, I'm not a gang member, blah, blah, blah. So, well, if you're not a gang member, then sign this renouncing gang membership. And unfortunately, the individuals don't understand what that meant. When they signed this document, they were believing that they were saying, "I'm not a gang member." What they were doing was renouncing membership. They were saying that they were gang members, and they didn't realize this. And as soon as the guy put his name on this, they would turn around and say, "Well, I seen you talking to Bobby DeLallo. Bobby DeLallo's a gang member." And into the gang block you go. Who was not in the gang block? The Mafia wasn't in the gang block. Whitey Bulger's crew was not in the gang block. East Boston gang was not in the gang block. Why? Because if you put these people in there and torture them like you did with the Spanish individuals, they'll blow your brains out. A judge finally shut the place down. And what was amazing, it was Judge King, who was the brother of Governor King. He was right-wing conservative, hard-nosed kind of judge, and he went through the roof. There was no nexus between these individuals and gang blocks, and the court shut them down. But this reflects the problem. NIC doesn't follow the money. If they followed the money, they would have went in there and checked the paper and see what was going on. You don't offer money up for grabs and everybody leaps on it, because that's what happens in corrections. Now, you're all familiar with when the federal government said you have to pass a law, turn right on red, or you don't get any federal monies for roads, which is blackmail. And the states went along with it. They didn't fight it right. Well, this is the same thing that happens in corrections. Either you dance to the tune of the National Institution of Corrections, or you don't get correctional monies. And states rely upon this money. All right? And this is what causes damage to the system. The Technical Assistance Information and Training for Adult Corrections, which is the 2009 Service Plan of the National Institution of Corrections, is an interesting document. And we're going to get that into a minute. But what I want you to do is go on Google, type in National Institution of Corrections statutes, and make sure you get a copy of this. Now, what you can also do is you can email me at bdellelo@yahoo.com, and I will email you a copy of this. Again, that's bdellelo@yahoo.com. It's really important that you get a hold of this to get an understanding of what's going on. And what's also another interesting thing about this document is in it uses the term including lay ex-offenders. Now, lay is actually a negative terminology. They could have simply said including ex-offenders. Lay means non-professional. Well, I'm an ex-offender. I have a bachelor's degree. I majored in sociology. After I come out, I became a certified paralegal. I am a professional. I am not a lay ex-prisoner. And this helps reflect the attitude of this law when it came into place. The National Institution of Corrections can do good work, but unfortunately, they're pretty much responsible for blowing the system up, making it bigger and bigger, making it a bigger bureaucracy that is becoming more and more expensive, and it's going out of control. People cannot afford paying for these prison systems. They don't work. They're wrong in concept, they're wrong in application, they're wrong to their core. There are alternatives. Now, we've said numerous times, the real question is, 97% of the people who are in prison are coming back into the community. How do you want them back in your community? Better than they went in or worse? Fact of the matter is, they're coming out worse than they went in because they do not have a vested interest in rehabilitating people. Privatized prisons, think about this. If the superintendent of a privatized prison had found the magical solution to rehabilitating prisoners and putting them back into the community as productive, law-abiding citizens, the shareholders would demand he be fired. How dare you get rid of the product? And the problem is, in this country, people are of the opinion that slavery was abolished. Slavery was not abolished, it was simply redefined. The United States Constitution, 13th Amendment, Section 1 reads, "Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction." Prisoners are slaves. And this is what you've got to understand. What we need to do is amend this, so that it reads, Section 1, "Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction." Let's abolish slavery once and for all. Problem is, it's causing more harm than good. The attitudes that are being developed. The National Institution of Corrections, in collusion with the American Correctional Association, is in fact the prison industrial complex. This is the root of it. These are the people that put the stamp of approval on all products. An interesting thing is I had been shipped to the Federal Bureau of Prisons, for political activities in the state, and the products that they had felt tip pens and all the stuff that they use for office stuff and for institutional stuff. I was there for 3 years, 9 months. When I came back into the system, I was shocked. All these products were now in the state institution. The same vendors were now doing business in the state. It's big business. It doesn't serve society generally. It serves a small core group of people to the detriment of society. Rehabilitation works. We always get these stories from hard-nosed Law and Order that it's the violent, dangerous person that's put in jail. It's not true. There are, yes, dangerous, violent people in jail, but that's not the majority. The majority of people in jail, 85% of people confined have some form of substance abuse issues involved in their crimes. They were addicted to drugs and were stealing Mickey Mouse stuff and going to jail. The minimum law filled the jail cells up. When they made a distinction between cocaine and crack cocaine is cocaine. What's the difference between powder cocaine and crack? The poor use the crack, the rich elite use the powder. The difference is the rich elite take the cocaine powder, use certain substances, and break it down and make it crack. Make it a more concentrated form, which makes it no different than what's being used in the ghetto. But the sentence